Greetings and welcome to episode 199 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Alexander, and I'm joined this week by Mr. Moody.
You're joined by this week the man every week of late.
I'm always
Which I
trying.
don't mind because I love talking about video games. How are you doing, Amy?
I mean, you're always around, and I like hanging out with you, so I invite you to the podcast. I'll always introduce you.
That's true. I'm gonna have to start talking about some compensation here, I think.
Oh, okay, cool. So this is Mr. Moody's last episode of the Words About Gamescast.
Knew it! I knew it!
I'll pay you 10% of what I get paid.
Okay,
Does that sound fair?
That's fair, Amy.
Yeah, okay, cool. We'll discuss the details. I'll get my people to talk to your people.
I'm not streaming. We're not streaming.
We'll work out the figures. No, we're not streaming today. We have been streaming very recently.
Yep.
Because my Twitch channel is also turning into an Apex Legends channel, which I didn't intend for it to happen.
Yep.
But even yesterday, I was like, oh, I'll do a cozy afternoon stream where I'll play Dreams or Animal Crossing. And then my plans for the nighttime fell through. And Keith was like, oh, well, I'm free to hang out on the nighttime. Like, hang out as in, like, hang out online. Because, you know, COVID-19. He went, I'm free to hang out. And I was like, oh, cool. Do I just play Apex? Yeah. All right, I'll just move my stream. So that was my fault. that happened. But next week, next Saturday, like, there will be no Apex stream. There'll be a brand new release stream. As long as the discs haven't been delayed.
Oh, I bought it. I went in, I like both me and my game share were just like, yep, half seas, yep, boom, there we go.
Wish I had a game sharer. That'll be good.
It would make life easier.
Yeah, well, probably, but
just yeah. Well, Boomerang have been pretty decent of late.
They have.
Like we both got our copies of Doom and Animal Crossing. And everything, so I might have been turning one of them already, so don't know why you shake your head at me there.
I feel like I said everything I needed to say on the subject last night. So I'm just shaft. All I've got left is.
Was this before or after I shot you?
After, well, let's not even get into that. Not going down that rabbit hole again.
Just go back to the archives of Twitch.tv Words About Games.
I might clip it. I might just clip it and pin it to everything and just be like, don't trust this guy. He'll shoot at you. There'll be enemies shooting at him and he'll be like, oh, I'm going to mercy kill my teammate. Users on the ground bleeding, pinging, going, they're over there. They're over there.
Ah, there's the enemy in the corner.
No.
There's no name above it. That must be the enemy. Why am I getting shot? Why are you shooting at me?
Oh, man. It's still more fun than COD. I don't know whether I'm even going to make a video about Call of Duty, because to do that, I have to play more of it, and I don't know if I want to play more of it.
Yeah, I've got it, but I've had no interest in going into it. It's just like what I've seen of it. It's very slow and methodical, and I'm just like, it's just not mine. I'm not a COD dude. I'm not. It's not my type of game. So I highly doubt I'll be playing it. So.
It's quite bland. It is quite bland.
That's a shame.
Well, I find it quite bland. A lot of people like it because it's got like 30 plus million players. So.
I was gonna say it's so bland. It's got 30 million plus players.
I don't know. Maybe it's yeah. I like the Black Ops Battle Royale, but you know I didn't like the. I guess I just maybe it'll click after a couple hours. Like Doom took a couple of levels before it really clicked for me, so maybe I just need to play it again.
A couple of hours of Bleeding Edge, and we were like, it was alright. So,
but we're not here to talk about any of that. This isn't a Battle Royale podcast. This is the Words About Gamescast each week. Myself and Mr. Moody, I'm just going to say it. Myself and Mr. Moody sit down to discuss what's been going on in gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture over the past 7 days. I spun around a little in my chair there, and I got a bit of vertigo, and I felt like I was falling over. That was really weird.
You've played Half-Life too much.
No, I haven't played that for days. I'm too scared. Because grabs are scary. This week, we discussed the incredible sales successes of the latest Animal Crossing and Doom games, Epic Games entering the world of games publishing, the small details we know about Remedy's next 2 games, the latest Nintendo Direct, and more. As always, there are timestamps available in the description below the video on YouTube. So, if you want to watch any specific bits of the podcast, or if you just want to watch the whole thing backwards, you can do whatever you want because we don't mind. Last week, I couldn't think of the word mind and said don't care. And I was like, that's not true, but I can't think of the word that I want to say. The word was mind.
We don't judge.
The word was mind. We don't mind. That was the word I was looking for. I think this lockdown is slowly killing all of my brain cells.
You have been locked down more longer than me.
I have been locked down longer than most. The first day of my release from self-isolation was the first day that everybody was locked down. And shops were shut. And it was like, great. I wanted to go.
Free. No, I'm not.
I needed to go and buy clothes, Moody. I needed to go and buy clothes. And I was counting down the days. And I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to buy clothes. I'm going to treat myself to a KFC. Because I always do when I go buy clothes. I'll be respectful. I'll get it and I'll take it out of the restaurant. Because, no one was sitting in restaurants at that moment.
That's true.
Monday night, everything's shut. Clothes shop shut. KFC's shut. I can still get to town. Nothing's open except game.
Is that still open?
It's not anymore, but it was for a bit.
I know they were basically doing what GameSpot was doing.
Game, CX, Sports Direct. There was like a few shops that were like, we're an essential service, when they clearly weren't an essential service.
You're not essential if you can get it digitally. You literally become unessential.
It was It was a whole thing. It was a dramatic week. But we're here to talk about video games, so let's dive right in with number 1. Let me just move this. For some reason, I've got this off to the side. It should be in the middle, so I'm not like... Animal Crossing New Horizons sales are incredibly high. I pulled this from 2 stories, but they were both written by Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer. Nintendo Switch exclusive Animal Crossing New Horizons is an enormous sales success. It dominated the UK boxed game chart and sold triple the amount of box copies of Bethesda's multi-platform Doom Eternal, which had longer on sale. Animal Crossing New Horizons is the second biggest launch on Switch ever, behind Pokemon Sword and Shield. But if you count those games totals separately, New Horizons is actually top. It is easily the largest release in the Animal Crossing franchise to date, with more than triple the launch sales of 3DS Incarnation New Leaf. And all of this is without digital sales numbers, which Nintendo will likely comment on in due course. And then there's a second story here. Well, I just purposefully ignore Mr. Mooney. Earlier this week, we reported on Animal Crossing's huge opening sales here in the UK. Now the sales picture is in from Japan, and it's a similar story. Put simply, Animal Crossing New Horizons is Japan's biggest Switch game launch ever. In just 3 days, it sold 1.88 million physical copies. It ably beat the previous game to hold the Switch's fastest selling game record, Pokemon Sword and Shield, which managed a combined 1.36 million sales over the same time period. New Horizons also marks a huge step up for the series in terms of its franchise sales. Its launch week numbers beat those of previous entries New Leaf, Wild World, and City Folk combined. End story. It's also... I can't go past 3 tweets on Twitter without seeing something about Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing is basically everywhere. I think even without the pandemic, I think it was always going to sell extremely well. I think the pandemic has made it even more accessible for everybody. There's no doubt about this. This is fantastic news. There's no doubt about it. I haven't dived fully deep into it yet, which I do need to get my finger out my backside and get that to have a good dive into it. But yeah, over the moon for this. I'm really happy for the developers who have worked the backside off on this and everything. Well done, Nintendo. Well done to the team who created this game and everything. So this is nothing but great.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think COVID-19's had a part to play in this and the next story, in terms of like games sales. But I think Animal Crossing was going to do well anyway. Um, I don't know how well. It's a weird one where Switch is like, there are franchises that are coming out on Switch that wouldn't necessarily you would consider top tier for
Yeah.
Nintendo. Animal Crossing was definitely one of them. I never would have thought, like, before New Horizons, I never would have said Animal Crossing was like a top tier Nintendo franchise. It
It's
certainly
always
is
sold
now.
well, I believe. Yeah, it's always sold well on the DS, doesn't it? That's basically where it's mostly been, is the DS, and this
Yeah,
is
there
the
was like
first
the
time it's been on
GameCube,
the Switch.
and then I'm pretty sure it was on the DS, and then the Switch is obviously both their handheld and their home consoles. So you get things like
Yeah.
Pokemon and Animal Crossing on a home console for the first time.
Mm.
But yeah, it's like, I mean, Nintendo games in general tend to sell well because Nintendo fans buy their exclusives. They have like the opposite problem of like Microsoft, where it's like the attach rates, even on the Wii U, like you were seeing a 50% attach rates for games like Mario Kart 8, which meant Mario Kart 8 was one of the most successful games of that particular generation, despite the fact that it was on one of the least successful consoles in history.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it is cool to
Why it
see
was
like
bought.
that's that's why Switch came out. But it's cool to see like a game like Animal Crossing just explode into popularity.
It's so user friendly. It's adorable looking. It's so the animations and everything are so kid friendly and audience friendly. Really, it's just one of those simple games that you can just sit back and chill. And that's basically with what's happening right now in the world. It's the perfect thing. It really, really is, and it's just worked.
It is the perfect sort
Hmm.
of game for where we're at as a society,
Yeah,
like in
yeah,
general in the world. It's still a fantastic game, and even if like everything was normal, like it still would have sold well and still would have been received well, and I'd still be posting screenshots on Twitter all the time,
yeah.
because that's just who I am. Like, and I've really fallen in love with this type of game since Stardew Valley, which was like the first one I ever really played. But I love this.
Yeah, I missed Stardew. So like I never got around to that one. But yeah, my intention is to dive into this over the week before the Friday. So
That's
or
cool.
before 11 p.m. at Thursday, should I say?
I look forward to hearing your thoughts on it. I'm gonna be continuing. It's a bit of a slow day for me on Animal Crossing because Tom Nook is rebuilding residential services, so it's a building instead of a tent. So there's not really that much going on.
Hmm.
Like, and I've currently I've downloaded. I haven't downloaded. So there's someone made a spreadsheet of all the different bugs and fish. So I'm currently trying to catch all the ones that are available in March, so I can take them to the museum, which is not a museum. Like, it's crazy. You go to the museum, and it's fucking huge, and it's like, but it's like it's where all the fish and bugs and fossils get. It's really nice. Like, there's so much more in there than I would have. Than necessarily they should have put in there, but they did, and I'm really happy they did. But it's also become an obsession where it's like it's raining. I look at my, like on this one spreadsheet. There's this one fish that only comes out when it's raining. Quick, get fishing rod. Trying to fish this fish out, and it's not coming because it's a rare fish, and it's just like, fucking Christ! I've been fishing for 2 hours.
You will hop onto that hook and you will come out of that water.
I've made 100,000 bells on wrong fish. Just give me the fish. I'm gonna be a millionaire before I get this fucking one fish I want. And I call it tarantula. Tarantulas are scary. You go.
Yeah, I haven't met one yet, so like a bit, but I haven't really got into it, so can't comment.
They're worth a lot of money. That's the problem.
Nice.
Number two, which is mildly related, and we'll get into why it's mildly related to Animal Crossing, because I want to talk about that once we've talked about the sales numbers
Can we
for this
confirm
game.
one thing that we're probably going to say the same things what we've just said about Animal Crossing?
Go on.
That would probably that it's basically congratulations to the team and everything like that. Well done to Bethesda. Well done to its software and all like that.
Cool. I'm gonna still read the thing though.
Go on, do it.
If you don't mind. Doom Eternal rips and tears through franchise launch record. This is from Gabe Gerwin over at GameSpot, who writes, Doom Eternal had an even better opening weekend than 2016's Doom Reboot, setting a new launch sales record for the entire franchise and hitting over 100,000 concurrent players on Steam. Compared to 2016's game, Doom Eternal earned double the revenue, according to publisher Bethesda. It was the best-selling game on Steam that week as well. Those Steam concurrent player numbers are far higher than Bethesda's other recent games. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus peaked at just over 16,000, while 2016's Doom managed almost double that. With the coronavirus, COVID-19, keeping people indoors, that likely encouraged continued video game time as well. Doom Eternal's physical sales were down substantially in the UK compared to the previous game, but this clearly doesn't appear to be reflective of its overall performance. It's almost like less and less people are buying physical copies of games. I thought we'd covered this. Why are you celebrating?
Soon as physical dies, all the better.
No. Because then I won't be able to ring games anymore. And I won't be able to buy games and trade them in anymore. And I won't be able to afford to keep running this channel anymore.
Awkward.
Yeah. The problem is, well, we'll go in, we'll go down with this. The problem is, in America, in the United States, it's fine. Like, I understand it because a physical copy of a game in Best Buy or Target or GameStop is $60. And a digital copy on the PlayStation Store, let's say, is $60. Here in the UK, a physical copy of a game is £40 on Amazon. Or £60 on a digital store. Why the fuck? What? Like, if there was price parity between the two, like there is in America, cool. I'm all for it. There's not, though. New games are so much cheaper to buy physically, as long as you don't go to Game, because Game overcharged for their games. And no one seems to have picked up on this yet. But, like, I don't understand why people buy it. Like, I've bought some games digitally for the convenience. Because it's something I want to keep around, and it's something I just want to have installed and just, not swapping discs around. But at the same time, like, if I wasn't renting Resident Evil 3, because I know as much as I'm going to play a lot of it, I'm not going to play it for an extended period of time. I wouldn't buy it digitally. I would buy it physically because it'll be cheaper. Or like Animal Crossing. I have that rented. I'm definitely going to buy it at some point. And when I need the space on my rental queue. And when I do, I'm going to buy a physical copy. Because it's going to be cheaper. So, like, everybody seems to be, like, cheering for digital to come along. But all that's going to do is mean you have to pay more for your games.
It's just a convenience factor for me. That's honestly the truth about it. And like I said, I do have the added expense of I have a game share where I don't pay as much. I don't deny that. I'm in a very convenient position. There's no doubt about it. For me, like for you, Amy, you are not in the same position I am, and everything like that. I can completely appreciate where you're coming from and everything like that. And I do agree with it to a certain extent because, like, we do the same things. We rent from the same place, Boomerang. And I'm playing Amazon Animal Crossing because of that. I've played Doom because of that and everything. I bought Resident Evil 3 digitally because I wanted to buy it and everything like that. So that's just how it was for me and everything like that. Physical's never gonna go.
Oh God,
it's
no.
never go. So anyone who thinks it is truly is really clueless.
Anyone who thinks it is hasn't been paying attention to the fact that physical copies of limited edition physical copies of indie games that have usually only been available digitally are really popular. Like physical media is still going to be around just because it's niche, right? People like
Vinyl
niche
never
things.
went away,
We
and it's
still
come
have
back with a
vinyl.
resurgence.
Yeah,
So
because some
it's
people just like having physical copies of things.
yeah, and I celebrate them. Like I said, I think it's whatever your preference is, basically, it really is.
Yeah, like I
But for
prefer.
me personally,
Don't get me
yeah,
wrong. I would prefer digital games,
yeah,
100%. Like for everything I've just said, like to have like all of my games digitally. Like I have all of my movies digitally. I do that
mhm.
because of I stream them all. But you know what I mean. It's the same sort of thing. I rent them digitally. I don't buy Blu-rays anymore. I don't buy books anymore. I buy them on the eShop. I could use my Switch as an e-reader. That would be pretty cool. But I actually meant Amazon. I buy them on my Kindle and I read them on my Kindle. But like the price thing comes into it for me. Like at the moment, Animal Crossing is £40 to buy physically, and it's like £50 on the eShop, and it's like £10.
£14 to buy
40.
physically. Oh, 40. I thought you said 14. I'm going out right now.
If
See
it
you
was
later.
40, I would be buying it right now. I would be like, hold on a minute, we're just pausing the podcast to buy it.
Yeah, see you later, guys. We'll be back. One moment.
Excuse me a second, just whip your phone out, like.
Something like that, yeah. I'll just do it right. Just chat and we'll just look at our phones and go, yeah. I'm just
To be fair
cover
though, it took me like it took me like 2 days to realize I was gonna be playing this Animal Crossing for an entire year.
yeah.
Like, but let's talk about Doom Eternal.
Let's do it.
Which obviously, you know, we have a difference of opinion on as far as the game goes, and as much as I tease you for it on when we're on Twitch, you know, it is what it is. You like it, you don't like it, that's fine. I was
Yeah.
talking about it on the newest episode of my Xbox and Me, where I was talking about how much I enjoyed it, why I enjoyed it, and I asked, you know, oh, if you play it, like, did you play Doom 2016? And Fix was like, I did, I didn't like it. And I was like, cool, you're not gonna like this. Like,
Yeah.
there's
And
no
you're spot on.
yeah, there's no one universal game for everyone. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not possible. Even like the best games of all time aren't going to be like. There's going to be people out there who are going to be like, it's just not for me. Call of Duty Warzone, which we just talked about in the opening of the show, was just like, yeah, 30 million plus people are playing it and loving it. I tried it. I'm not a fan.
Yeah. Basically, that's what it was. The thing for me is that I'll always give it a chance, though.
Yeah.
That is for me. I'll always give it a chance, even if the last one may not have worked for me. But who knows? They could have tweaked something and it just works for me. And it's out. It looks beautiful. It is visually stunning, and the game mechanics are overall very fluent, and it
Oh my
works
God.
really well. It just wasn't fundamentally clicking for me. And I celebrate anyone who loves this. I celebrate the high critic score it's got, and I celebrate all the money it's got. Bethesda have had their asses kicked for the last year and a half to 2 years, basically, under their own accord. There's no doubt about this. It's all their fault. We know this. But just to see this, that this game has come out and it's sold well. Yes, just like I said right before, you said all the things about off on the article. It sold extra probably because of the pandemic and everything. There's no doubt about that. But well done. The team's worked its ass off, especially when it was pushed from last year to here and everything. And like we heard all of reports that they were crunching, weren't they, again, for it? So the love, whatever feelings you have for crunching and everything, because both me, I think you and me do have various, like, I see why they do it. Sometimes I think sometimes you're very, no, we should never be doing this. Like, I might be right. I'm right there.
Well, the way I've always liked it, Crunch, is like summarize 2 years worth of discussions in like
Yeah.
just 30 seconds. Like the way I've always liked to Crunch is when Crunch used to be called Crunch because it used to be a few weeks leading up to the release of a game, a development studio would crunch to like finish, like polish off the game, and I was like, cool, that's fair enough. Like if like last week, like I crunched on putting out videos because I was like, cool, I have a Half-Life video and a Bleeding Edge video and a Doom video and this and that. So I was like, cool, I'm just gonna sit down for a day. I'm going to sequester myself away from like consoles and stuff, and I'm just going to fucking do all the shit I need to do and get it done. And I did, and it was great, and I had a very nice sleep that night. But like, my problem is sustained crunch, where it's like months. You're talking like months and months of people like working like 60 plus hours a week, and I've been in that position in a job
Yeah.
that I've had in the past, and it ruins your mental health, your physical health, and it
hurts people, yes, that's when
it's
it
not
goes.
worth it.
I'll never, I'll never defend it if it hurts anybody. I'll never defend it at all. But no, yeah. But going back to it, like I said, they've worked their asses off, and to see that their hard work is coming to fruition, and people are overall loving the game, just like Animal Crossing, fan-freaking-tastic. I'm so happy for all the teams for this, all the
Yes.
people who have worked it.
Definitely. And my favourite thing that's happened in 2020 as far as video games are concerned is the crossover of the communities of Animal
That's
Crossing
crazy.
and Doom. I've loved it. Every day in 2020, every week in 2020, I feel like I've logged onto Twitter, I've seen something awesome. Like, which is just a Doom and Animal Crossing crossover. I'm just like, it's so great that these two, like, completely separate communities are both coming together because their games are coming out on the same day, and they're just like, hey, good luck with launch. Here's a drawing of, like, Isabel, like, killing demons with the Doomslayer, and then, like, you go the other way where it's like, good luck with your launch. Here's a picture of Doom guy in Animal Crossing, like, just chilling out with his best friend, and it's just like, oh my god, this is amazing. Did you see the animation someone did
No.
last week for launch? There's like a minute long animation. I'm pretty sure I put it up on I retweeted it, where it's like Doom and I keep calling the character Doom, where it's like the Doom Slayer.
Guy.
It's like the Doom Slayer and Animal and Isabel, and they're like having fun, playing, and then it's like, here come the demons, and then like the music starts, and like fucking he gets a shotgun, loads it up, and then Isabel jumps off, and it's like she just punches the head. It's amazing. It's so good. I'm gonna use a still of it for the thumbnail for this video. It's that fucking
That would
good.
be pretty cool, yeah.
But
That is pretty cool. That's pretty epic. Just to see that, it's like, especially like some people are like saying, "Oh God, are they gonna hurt each other because they're coming
No.
out the same day?" One, I was like, "No," because
Doom didn't come out on Switch, so no, they're not gonna hurt each other.
there's that as well. But like they're both targeting a completely different audience at the same time. So no, they were both going to be absolutely fine. And like I say, they've both been more than fine.
Yeah. I think
Fantastic.
the Venn diagram of core gamers like ourselves who will play both isn't as big as we think it is, because we live inside the games industry bubble, where it's just like so many people we talk to on a daily basis and see on Twitter, like, always talking about video games and this and that and this and that. It's because we live in that bubble. Yeah. Whereas it's just like the casual audience, it'll be like, cool. They might not necessarily like both hyper violent, fast paced first person shooters and cute island building social simulators. Because they're two completely different things. There's no crossover between those two games. And it's like, yeah, they're not going to hurt each other in the slightest. This isn't a Titanfall Call of Duty Battlefield situation where it's like, these are basically fundamentally the same thing.
all on all the same platforms.
All on the same platforms. Week after week after week.
Jesus.
What do you think was going to happen here? I'm still not over it. Fucking dickheads. I would be over it if they hadn't have come out and been like, well, we think Titanfall and Battlefield are going to capture different audience. How? They're both first-person shooters, you dumbasses.
Even if one was a third-person shooter, it would still capture the same type of audience just because of how actiony it is.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Yes. Should we move on? Congratulations to both Nintendo, Bethesda, id Software, and... Did Nintendo develop Animal Crossing? Because from doing this job, I've realised that a lot of Nintendo games are developed by specific developers that aren't Nintendo. Like Smash Brothers isn't developed by Nintendo. Yes, it is Nintendo. Cool. Congrats to Nintendo then on Animal Crossing.
Congratulations for all the money you're making.
And thank you for the game that is going to dominate my life in 2020. Last year, the game that dominated my life. Apex is going to dominate my life. There's a multiplayer and a single player game. And last year's games that dominated my life, were both Division 2. So 2020 is already looking up for me because Division 2 dominated my life because it was mindless and I could turn my brain off and listen to podcasts for it. Whereas Apex Legends and Animal Crossing are dominating my life because I'm genuinely invested in the game. So thank you for that. I know Apex was out last year. I didn't even play it that much, but I didn't have a dedicated squad like I do now. And also, I'm just better at the game somehow than I was last year.
I'm finally understanding it and getting it. I've just bought because on Xbox they have one of the packs like that's for £4, and I was just like, steal, thank you.
I do keep an eye out on the sales, of the packs, not because I want the Octane skin or the Revenant skin, but because they come with enough coins to buy shit, and I'm like, cool. If they drop the price, I'll definitely. I bought the Bloodhound one because it was half price.
Yeah. So I've got the Bloodhound one, the Lifeline one, and the Reaper guy, Revenant guy, whatever his name is.
Reaper. Oh, what?
Yeah.
Die. Number 3. Epic launches publishing label, signs creators behind Control, Inside, and The Last Guardian. This is from Andrew Webster over at The Verge, who writes, Fortnite maker Epic Games is getting into publishing in a big way. The company announced the launch of Epic Games Publishing, which is exactly what it sounds like, a publishing label funded by Epic. Quote, we're building the publishing model we always wanted for ourselves when we worked with publishers, Epic founder Tim Sweeney said in a statement. To start, Epic has lined up an impressive trio of development partners. That includes Remedy Entertainment, most recently known for the surreal action game Control, Playdead, the team behind the haunting side-scrollers Limbo and Inside, and Gen Design, a studio helmed by director Fumito Ueda, which most recently launched The Last Guardian. I'm going to skip because we're going to talk about that in a minute. As with Epic Games Store, which boasted about its more developer-friendly terms, the new publishing label is meant to offer a better deal for game creators. Here are the key aspects according to Epic. Developers retain 100% of all intellectual property and full creative control of their work. Epic Games Publishing will cover up to 100% of development costs, from developer salaries to go-to-market expenses such as QA localization, marketing, and all publishing costs. Developers earn a fair share for their work. Once costs are recouped, developers earn at least 50% of all profits. It's a similar premise to the Epic Games Store, which offers developers a revenue split of 88-12, compared to the 30% cut most major digital stores take from the sales. Epic previously supported game development through grants such as the $100 million Mega Grant program and by signing games to exclusive Epic Game Store deals. A new AAA publisher has just entered the ring.
Yeah, and he's shooting some big barrels.
Wow.
He's literally Tim Sweeney. He's come out shooting here. He's come out swinging.
Yeah.
Seriously, he's literally just stepped into the ring against Titans, and he's literally just thought, "This is what I got. What you got?" He's just literally just bought out that. I want what it sounds really, really good.
Yes.
It sounds. It's pardon the pun. It does sound truly epic.
I'll allow it because it's true. Because it does sound epic.
Yeah.
Of all the non-first party studios you could pick up, right? If you're starting a AAA publishing label, Remedy, Gen Design, and Playdead. Those are 3 really good pickups. For developers.
That basically takes out the rumors of that Remedy might get bought up by PlayStation. I think that stops right now. I think that shuts it all up.
Yeah, definitely. They might partner with PlayStation on a game, but they're not gonna be bought by them. Not while they've got this. I mean, it's unlikely. Yeah. Some of the developers Microsoft bought did have existing deals with other publishers, like The Outer Worlds, which was published by 2K, Take Two.
I'll take two.
I always get those 2 mixed up. But yeah, it's unlikely. It is very unlikely. It's been an unpopular opinion, and I've been flamed for saying it like over the past year. But I like the moves Epic are making in the games industry. Like you can bitch all you want about store exclusivity, and maybe this is me coming at it from someone who primarily games on consoles, where exclusives are just a natural part of the ecosystem. But they're paying developers so that they don't have to worry and can just make the game. And the price of that is that, oh, it's going to only be available on Epic Game Store for a year or 6 months or whatever. It's like, I can live with that.
Surely I can as well. This is fabulous, man. It really is. The main thing, the main backlash I got toward what I noticed when it came to Epic and the exclusive thing was their store was nowhere near as good as Steam's. Steam's is very user friendly. You can find everything, blah blah blah. About apparently Epic's is very niche and very small at this moment in time. And my argument was always like, yeah, it's a brand new thing. It'll change over time. Things don't. They threw it up pretty fast. I'm pretty sure Tim Sweeney has already confirmed that. They threw it up pretty fast to get it out there, and they're updating it basically all the time and everything. This is the company that has Fortnite that does weekly updates, ladies and gentlemen. They are pretty much going to be fine and everything. And they're spending their Fortnite money basically in amazing ways to help other developers. It's amazing.
It's everything. Like Epic Games are doing everything I wanted Steam to do the entire time they held a monopoly on PC gaming. Like it like someone, I saw someone tweet this out and I was like, God damn, because Steam have been making all the money for years and years. Could you imagine if they'd funded a publishing label and the games that they could have published? Bearing in mind they've pretty much got limitless amounts of money. They've got Fortnite level money from PC game sales.
Really, they've got a higher level because they've been in the game so long.
Yeah, and it's just like they could have done this. They could have done this and published their own games and made even more money.
They could have published, got someone to actually do Half-Life 3 for us and get it out.
Oh, we got there eventually. It's not Half-Life 3, but it might just be a prequel to it or a prologue to it. But we'll see where Half-Life goes from here. Hopefully it's not another 13 years till the next game. I won't be able to do VR in 13 years, really. My knees will be old and decrepit.
We'll be in the Oasis by then.
True. I'll be dead by then.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I love this. Like, I love the fact that they could have announced any developers within reason, and I would have been like, this is awesome because of what they're actually doing. But the fact that they've done it and they've taken 3 developers who have made games that I love and a lot of people love, and that's the icing on the cake. It's like Remedy Entertainment, one of my top developers of all time. Like, I fucking love Remedy Entertainment. I love the games they make. I love their creativity. Like, Playdead, I love Limbo. Inside, I didn't get too much.
Oh, I loved Inside.
But Limbo was amazing. And then Gen designed Last Guardian. Like, I hold that game in such high esteem. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I loved Last Guardian.
Yeah. The thing is, when I think what the main thing when it comes to Epic is that it seems like it's not to the customer. It's not customer friendly, and it's like, yes, it isn't. It's because it's studio friendly. This is for the developers. This is not for you. This only becomes for you when the developers release their hopefully great, amazing games.
I was about to say, like, the store is missing features, and I won't deny that. Like, it's annoying to try and buy like more than one. Like, when they release 2 free games, you have to buy both individually because they don't have a basket, and I'm like, that's stupid. You should have a basket. But
yeah,
like, and there are things like, but I can be critical of it while still going, I still love what Epic are doing. And it's not consumer friendly in those ways where its store it still doesn't have all the features it needs, but it is consumer friendly. Like, being developer friendly is being consumer friendly, because if you're paying for the continued existence of development studios, or you're paying so that development studios can make the best versions of their games, cool, I'm down 100%. Like, if you're basically saying, you're basically, like, Epic Games with this announcement is basically announcing that they're going to pay for Remedy, PlayerDead, and Gen Design to continue to make games for the next several years.
Yeah.
Fucking great, because like they can make great games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'm 100% down with that. And like none of these games are going to be PC exclusive. So like I doubt they're just going to be available on the Epic Store, like PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
but even if they were all only available on PC and they were all only available on the Epic Game Store, all I have to do is open one thing instead of the other on my computer. I do it all the time.
And and if it comes out and I hear they're great, and then I hear they're coming out on consoles a year later, I would be like, fantastic. It would be annoying for me just because I'm not a PC gamer. I don't bother. It doesn't never bother me. It never bothers. It never has bothered me at all. I'm just like, that's fine. That's all right. I have no problem to wait. I've got other games I can go back to and play and everything like that.
Yeah.
And everything like that. And if I hear, like, say, you or some other or the rest of the reviewers out there come out and say these are amazing, that just hypes up my level even more. And I'm gonna be like, I can't wait for this. This is fantastic. Give me it now.
You get that experience later on. It's like the thing people always talk about. Like, if you were to pick up, I don't know, this is never going to happen, but it's the first game that came to mind. But if you were to pick up Bloodborne for the first time, and it was your kind of thing, and I know it's the first game that came to my mind. But and I would just be like, and it's that thing where it's like, I'm so jealous of you because you get to experience it for the first time. Whereas if I played it, I'd be playing it again, and a little bit of that magic's lost when you replay something. But that's exactly what you're talking about. It's like if Control was only available on PlayStation, so no, you don't have one, and I played it, and I was like, this fucking game is amazing. And it was coming to Xbox a year later. Like, you'd still get to experience it a year later. The game isn't going to suddenly disappear or get worse, like, in the space of a year.
It's not. It's arguably going to get a little bit better.
It's going to get better because it's going to be more polished. There's going to be patches, and there's going to be DLC, and you'll probably be getting the Game of the Year edition with all the expansions, and yeah, you're probably in a better position.
What's happening, if they know they've only got a year's exclusivity, they're probably doing say what you have how the theory you're going with, like the Control was a PlayStation exclusive. They would have still been doing the Xbox version and the PlayStation version at the same time. They would have been developing them at the same time because it just makes good business sense. Yes, they just released the PlayStation one first because that's their deal, what they have with Sony and everything. But other than that, then obviously Microsoft get it the year later, and by the time all those bugs that the game had at the beginning, those are probably all gone by the time it comes out for Xbox. Yeah. And that's how it is.
And even then, it's a moot point because at the end of the day, it's not a difference of different consoles. Like, what we're talking about is you only own an Xbox, so like anything that comes to PlayStation, you can't play unless you buy a PlayStation. All this is on PC is download another launcher. Just download it.
Yeah.
I did it. It's not difficult.
I can do it right now.
I can open both up right now and be like, oh, I might play Bloodroots. I've got Bloodroots. It's an Epic Game Store exclusive. Oh, no! I did try to put the code into Steam because they sent me the review code and I'm just used to, I've got the review code up in Steam, copy and paste it. It's not working. Shit. I didn't email the developer. They've sent me like a code that's not working. And then I was like, wait a minute. And then I opened the Epic Game Store up and clicked the thing and I redeemed it and I was like, there we go.
There it is. There we go.
Damn you, Epic Game Store. Like...
And the main thing is though, when you play the game on Epic Game Store, does it work?
Oh yeah, it works exactly the same.
That's what I'm saying. I think people should be complaining over nothing.
I take this and I plug it into my PC and I run the game and I do the thing. I can put a freaking shortcut on my desktop, so I don't even need to open the Epic Game Store if I don't want to. Like, it's crazy. Oh well. And like
going back.
Yeah, go on. I could complain about this for hours.
Yeah, we've gone off onto multiple tangents here. Going back to the main story, this is what I love even more about is that this helps first-time studios immensely. They could literally just go to them and come to an agreement and everything like that. Yes, they probably won't get as much as obviously probably Remedy is going to get or everything like that because they're a brand new studio. They aren't tested. They aren't well known. They haven't basically tested themselves properly, but I think this is just fantastic.
It is. I feel like because
for me, who's wanting to get into development, who wants to become a QA tester in the future and everything like that, this is just just fantastic to hear.
I feel like as well, and that's awesome. Like from your for you personally as well. But I feel like I can't even remember what I was going to say. It went completely out of my head. It was really good. I remember it was a good point.
I'm sorry.
But no, it's fine. It happens from time to time. I don't know. I'm a bit. I had like a 3 hour nap today. I'm a bit off. I didn't mean to have a 3 hour nap. I just had a 3 hour nap.
Oh no, I've napped too much. The show not's done. No.
Oh, the show notes. Shit. Have I eaten? No. Is it Monday? No, it's still Sunday, you idiot. Oh, crap. Like, yeah, I feel like I remember now. I feel like did you like the way I just delayed so I could remember what I was thinking?
Delayed it.
I'm a good podcast host from time to time. No, I feel like Epic, because they make the Fortnite money and because Fortnite isn't going anywhere anytime soon, like I feel like they can afford to take risks.
Yeah.
Because let's say like unthinkably, it's the unthinkable. Let's say Remedy's game, Gen Design's game, and Playdead's game, they all bomb, right? For whatever reasons, they all bomb. They don't make any money. Like Epic still will lose money, but I doubt that would dissuade them from publishing more games. And they make they make that much money, they probably wouldn't even notice on their bank balance.
Well, it's also saying you have to spend money to make money, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they've got the money to burn and everything. This is like what we like when we hear like studios like, they have the war chest of like 250 billion or companies, you know what I mean? And you're just like, do you not want to like, maybe want to reinvent yourself a bit and everything? No, we'd rather stay how we are, which is perfectly fine. You're making a ton of money. I'm not gonna. Why change it? I guess why change what's not broke? But thinking, do you not want to take a little bit of a risk? No, we don't.
But
yeah, this is just doing the same.
Companies that don't change keep making Killzone sequels. Companies that do try something new make Horizon Zero Dawn.
I think you just dropped the mic there. I think the episode's done. We're done.
Yeah, we're done. Can we just go now?
Oh, and beat each other up.
Yeah. That's my go-to counter argument for people saying, "Well, they're not making another game in this franchise that they've made for the last 10 years." I was like, "Yeah, Guerrilla Games did that, and they only made Horizon Zero Dawn." So, whew. I'll always celebrate a developer doing a new IP, even if, using Remedy as an example, even if they're not making Alan Wake 2, they still end up making Control, and I'm like, cool. It still rocks.
Well, I think that's a perfect segue, Amy.
You'd almost think I did that on purpose. Because with this news about the Epic Game Store, we also got story number 4. Control devs are working on 2 unannounced games. This is from Alistair Jones over at Kotaku, who writes, Remedy, the team behind Control, Alan Wake, and Max Payne, have signed publishing deals for 2 new projects with Epic Game Store. The multi-platform, as yet unannounced projects are both in development on the studio's own Northlight game engine. According to Cision, the first of the 2 games is already in pre-production. The second, which is part of the same franchise, has a significantly smaller scope. The studio, based in Finland, yeah, we already know all that stuff. Remedy is doing pretty well for itself at the moment. Control performed well financially, but even better critically, grabbing several Game of the Year wins. Moody. They're making a big game and a smaller game. And they're both in the same franchise. And everybody's been talking about it. Oh, well, not everybody. There's been talk about what these games could possibly be. And what I think people who are talking on the internet about what Remedy's next games are. Because they're both in the same franchise. So this is either Control or Alan Wake. And I was like, what you're forgetting is both of those intellectual properties are part of the same franchise. Because I remember them talking about this last year. So you played Control, right?
Yeah, I played it. Yeah.
And you go through Control and you find multiple references, like explicit references to Alan Wake in like all of the different documents and stuff. And there's probably going to be Alan Wake.
Right now, just to put in, the references went right out of my head. I had no idea.
That's fair enough. Have you played Alan Wake?
I've never played Alan Wake.
Well, there you go then. You wouldn't understand the references.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make sure I wasn't spoiling anything for you.
No, no,
Like,
no.
I don't give a
The
shit about
game's been out
spoiling
for a
people.
long time.
Yeah,
If
I
it
don't give a
gets
shit about spoiling
my fault.
people out there. I care about your experience.
That's fair.
But the so that but like so you go through, you do that. There's probably going to be Alan Wake DLC. Like looking at the images that they teased for all the expansions for Control. There's probably going to be Alan Wake DLC coming sometime this year to Control. And I remember seeing Remedy talking about how they're trying to make the Remedy, and it's a shit now, but it's a good short, succinct way of referencing it. The Remedy cinematic universe, where all of their games take place in the same shared universe, and considering Control's premise and Alan Wake's premise, like that's totally understandable. Like one of these games is probably a sequel to Control, one of their most critically acclaimed games they've ever made, and the other one is probably something to do with Alan Wake. That's
Or
my
vice
takeaway.
versa.
Of like, yeah, the big one
Yeah.
could be Control, the smaller one could be Alan Wake. Flip them around. Maybe it's the big one's Alan Wake 2. Maybe it's the DLC that comes out, which is Alan Wake for Control, leads into their next game, which is a full-on Alan Wake sequel. And then there's a smaller experience, so you can follow the adventures of Jesse doing something with the Federal Bureau of Control.
Or could it be Max Payne?
Rockstar owns Max Payne.
Did they?
Yeah.
Never mind then. Okay, so unless it's a brand new IP, which I highly doubt right now, I think it's going to be probably the small DLC for Control that spins off into Alan Wake sequel. I think that's what they're going for next. They've said, I'm pretty sure they've said multiple times that they want to do an Alan Wake sequel, but obviously with the thing with Microsoft, it was very unsure or something like that. But
until last year, Microsoft didn't want to make an Alan Wake sequel.
yeah.
They wanted them because what Alan Wake was caught in that weird position where it didn't sell well, which was because Microsoft released it on the same day as Red Dead Redemption, and because of Microsoft's focus with the Xbox One, they wanted them to make Quantum Break, which was that hybrid game TV show thing, because they were trying to be the all-in-one entertainment system. So they were never really interested in making an Alan Wake sequel. Now Remedy has the rights to Alan Wake. They can do whatever they want. They've talked for years about wanting to do Alan Wake as like a passion project.
Yeah.
And the thing about Alan Wake is it sold shit when it came out in 2010, but it was a cult classic, and people like me who did play it wouldn't shut up about it for years. And I remember we were reading.
Well reviewed, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was really well reviewed.
Yeah,
it's well regarded.
Yeah.
But I remember we read a news story. It was years ago now on the podcast. I'm talking like 2-3 years ago, where it we found out it sold like 5 million. Like when it came out on PC, it was selling on PC and sold a lot over a long period of time. So there's probably a lot of Alan Wake fans out there right now who would go apeshit if Remedy were like, it's happening.
It's not an if, it's when they reveal Alan Wake 2, people are going to go bonkers for it, and they really are. It's gonna, and that's fantastic. I'm over the moon for them. I think I'm not lying. This is very lazy of me and everything like that. What I'm going to say here is that I just won't play Alan Wake 1 until I hear Alan Wake 2 is coming out.
That's fair.
Yeah, and everything like that.
It's
rare that I go backwards. That's the thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you have a reason to go backwards, because it's like, shit, the second one's coming out, and I have to play this. Like, I'm legitimately waiting until that Alan Wake DLC drops for Control, and then I'm just going to buy the whole thing, the season pass, and play all of the DLC for it. It was my number 2 game of the year last year, so I'm definitely playing all the DLC. It's just a case of I'm waiting for the one that I know I definitely want to play. Because Alan Wake is so up there for me. It was such a phenomenal game.
And what makes this even more juicy is the new deal, what we already spoke about.
Yeah, because this is all tied to the Epic Games stuff.
Yeah. So
I can see the DLC coming out late 2020, and then we'll getting something at the Game Awards for Alan Wake 2. Or Control 2. Like, whatever the main project that Remedy's working on is. So I feel like E3 would have been too soon.
Will be revealed around the E3 time, whatever console, whatever one they want to show that off at, and then obviously, I think you could see Alan Wake sequel at the Game Awards.
Yeah, because I feel like Foundation just came out, which was their first DLC. So Expeditions came out last year. The Foundation came out last week, and then the next one is called AWE, and it's a picture. It's like the image that they shared, because I'm staring at it right now. The image that they shared for it is like the Control thing mixed with the Alan Wake box art. And AWE, which is Altered World experience in Control, could also stand for Alan Wake expansion, as we theorized last year when they revealed the title of it. But
I think that's what's happening. Alan Wake expansion and Control sequel announced at the end of the year.
We'll see. Let's quickly go through the next news story, because it's not really a news story. There was a Nintendo Direct.
I did not watch and didn't even realize came out until like a day later.
They didn't tell anyone it was coming out. So you remember we were talking when we were playing a game on Tuesday night, and I was like,
"Oh yeah.
Everyone's lost their shit because Nintendo haven't announced the Nintendo Direct that everyone thought they were gonna do this week." And people were going crazy because people have been going crazy since January. And then the next day, they were like, they just uploaded it to their YouTube channel and shared it across their social media accounts, and everyone was like, what the fuck? And it wasn't a full Direct. It was like a Direct Mini. They even called it a Direct Mini. And yeah, it was okay. Like, it was alright. We'll talk about what's going on. Stop me if there's anything you want to stop at to talk about. And I'll do the same. So I got this off of IGN. Adam Bankhurst put it together, so thank you, Adam. So you got Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's next DLC fighter will be from ARMS, but they didn't say who from ARMS. I find it interesting that someone from ARMS is going to be a fighter in Super Smash Bros. Because that game hasn't been a thing since 2017. Is there going to be a new ARMS?
That kind of hints at it, kind of.
There's no... I can't think of a reason.
ARMS probably sold well when it came out because it was a launch title. So you got to think it sold well.
I can't think of another reason why they would put ARMS in Smash. Because there's already an assist trophy for ARMS in Smash Bros.
They don't want to piss people off for you putting any more Fire Emblem characters in.
More three
houses
characters, just... The entire next fucking fighter pack of 5 fighters is all just 3 houses characters, and Sakurai just flipping you off, going. You
still buying it, suckers?
Yeah, you'll still buy all of them. Fuck you. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition will be released on Nintendo Switch on May 29th, 2020. It's going to come with some extra content, like a new story chapter, which is cool if you like that. I never got into Xenoblade. I tried Chronicles X on Wii U. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
2K has announced that BioShock Collection, Borderlands Legendary Collection, and XCOM 2 Collection are all headed to Nintendo Switch on May 29th, 2020. XCOM 2 is a fantastic game for Switch.
Yeah. Just simple sit down.
Yeah.
Let your people die.
Because it's essentially a tactics game, which tactics games are made for handheld consoles. Bravely Default 2 demo available now. There was a new trailer released for Bravely Default 2 alongside the announcement that the game's demo is available now. I've downloaded it. I'm going to have a preview video out for it this week, so look out for that.
Little tease. Is it a thumb or thumbs up?
I haven't played it yet. I literally downloaded that and Trials of Mana. Both have demos, and I'm going to play the demos and do the thing while I'm playing the demos, and there'll be videos out for it. Bravely Default, I've never played it because it was a Nintendo handheld game before this, and I've never had a Nintendo handheld until now. As much as you can call Switch a handheld. New Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass details. There was actually a lot in this. I'm not going to lie. I kind of forgot Pokemon Sword and Shield existed until I saw this. I was like, oh yeah, that came out last year.
Well, we talked about it a
We
month
talked. We
ago.
talked about the sales for it, but it's one of those things where
Yeah.
it's like talking about it in abstract and then seeing the gameplay, like the game footage, and being like, "I played that." Like, oh yeah, I wanted to finish it, but I never did.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there's new shield will add the expansion pass will add the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra to the latest Pokemon adventure in 2020. The Isle of Armor will be released in June, and Nintendo revealed that trainers will be fighting and training in a dojo that will earn players the legendary Pokemon Kubfu. Trainers can then challenge the Towers of Two Fists, that is both the Tower of Darkness or the Tower of Waters. Players can choose only one and can only use Kubfu. Kubfu will evolve into Urshifu when one of the towers is conquered. If Darkness is conquered, it will learn one move, and if Water is conquered, it will learn another move. There's also a new Gigamax Pokemon. Outfits, league card customization options, and a bunch of stuff.
Nice.
Isle of Armor is coming out in June. Crown Tundra will be released in the fall. Expect to hear more at E3, or whatever E3 is this year. Animal Crossing New Horizons' first season event starts on April 1st till April 12th. Residents will be able to participate in Bunny Day in honor of Easter to find eggs hidden by Bunny Visitor Zipper and craft exclusive items with them. The next event after Bunny Day will be Earth Day in late April. They're fucking going all in on these events. They're like, we gotta kick this off. The fact that this is happening.
We're all in a pandemic. We're all inside. Let's get this out.
Was the fact that Bunny Day is happening this week. Like this Wednesday. And then that lasts for almost 2 weeks. And then by the time you've done Bunny Day, things go back to normal for like a couple of weeks, maybe even just a week. And then the next thing starts. It's going to keep it ticking over on social media, which is going to keep people talking about it, sharing pictures, which is going to keep people buying and playing the game. It's genius.
They're genius. They really are.
We give Nintendo a lot of shit for marching to the beat of its own drum, but they really do know what they're doing sometimes.
Mm-hmm. They know how to shut us up.
Yeah, they know how to be like, listen, shut up, take this, play your fucking game, and leave us alone. We'll do you a direct in...
Like, what did you do wrong? Oh, no, I can't remember. I'm just playing this.
We'll do you a direct in June, okay? Shut up and play Animal Crossing. But if you don't like Animal Crossing, how about all these games that I'm about to go through here? Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy now available on Nintendo Switch. Jedi Academy features the original story mode and a 16-player multiplayer mode with character customization. Love that game. It's old, but it's really good. Like, it's fun. Until Jedi Fallen Order, it was the most fun you could have with a lightsaber combat in a Star Wars game. But it's from like 2000 something. Like, it was like 2003, 4, something like that. I remember playing it in university when it was new. It's fucking great. We used to play the multiplayer all the time.
Yeah, I missed it, so yeah, it's one of those things.
Star Wars Episode 1 Racer is headed to Nintendo Switch later this year. Did we make a joke about this a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah. Pod Racer.
Episode 1 Racer?
So good. I love this one.
It's good. It's a good game. Episode 1 sucked, but Episode 1 Racer is a great little pod racing game. I remember playing it.
You don't like Misha?
In 1999. I don't, surprisingly.
Misha Clumsy.
I need to sit down and actually think about this, but I think I dislike more Star Wars movies than I like. I have to actually sit down and do the numbers in my head.
Like I said on my review, it's like that bad uncle.
Yeah,
you love it. It's like you're in an abusive relationship with it.
I am definitely in an abusive relationship with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Even when you don't like certain films, you're still like, there's some good parts in it.
Yeah, it's like I watch Episode 1 because it sucks, but the Duel of the Fates is awesome. Yeah. I'm like, I gotta watch this part because it's fucking great.
Yeah, we gotta watch this. We have no choice.
Clubhouse games
and the pod race is awesome. I love
pod racing is pretty cool.
And Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson's
and Ewan McGregor.
Cool. Ewan McGregor is fantastic in the whole trilogy.
We don't really talk about Natalie Portman even though I love that.
I love Natalie Portman to death, but she was terrible in Star Wars.
She doesn't do well with franchises. I'm very intrigued to see what she does with Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, but like she doesn't do well in big franchises. But then she goes and does fucking what was that Netflix movie?
Fudgical.
She does that Netflix movie, that weird Netflix movie, and she's great in it. Or she does
Yeah,
Black Swan and she wins an Oscar, and it's just like,
yeah,
all right, cool. we're okay, Natalie Portman.
yeah. We're good.
She's also cool on Hot Ones. You should watch that. Clubhouse Games 51 worldwide classics announced. 4 in a row. Mancala, slot cars, there's a bunch of fucking card games. They have like Yahtzee, like games like Yahtzee, but they can't call it Yahtzee, so they call it something as close to the word Yahtzee as they could get it, and then it's just Yahtzee. But Yahtzee's copyrighted. I found that really funny.
That's funny though.
Burnout Paradise Remastered will be arriving on Nintendo Switch in 2020. Burnout Paradise Remastered is fucking awesome. Played it on 360 back in the day.
Yeah, that was a game I wanted. Yeah, it was a good game.
Panzer Dragoon Remake is available now as a timed console exclusive on Nintendo Switch. Shinsekai Into the Depths is a deep-sea exploration game that is available on Nintendo Switch today. There was a lot of shadow drops in this direct. Players must collect resources to upgrade gear, craft items, and dive deeper and deeper into the watery abyss. Free update will be released for Ring Fit Adventure, it already was. That will add a new rhythm game mode and an option to switch to a female voice and to change the language of the in-game voice and more. The rhythm game mode features a few tracks from such games as Super Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It looks fucking legit. That rhythm mode looks really fun. Because you're using the Ring Fit, the yoga thing, to do like the things and squeeze when you get it. It looks like a lot of fun. And the fact that you got like Zelda music and the song from Super Mario Odyssey, Jump Up Superstar. You'll know it if you hear it because it was everywhere for a while. A good job available on Nintendo Switch. It's a wacky puzzle action game. It looked quite fun actually. Nice. You kind of blast across offices doing like menial tasks but causing massive chaos at the same time.
Awesome.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, the Black Order's newest expansion pack, which is Fantastic Four: Shadow of Doom, is already out on Nintendo Switch. Newest edition adds Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom as playable characters and a new story campaign. King's Bounty 2, a new sequel to the King's Bounty series that began in 1990, is headed to the Nintendo Switch with more realistic graphics, in-game choices that truly matter, a new character development system, and much more. Ninjala is a free-to-play, up to 8-player ninja battle game that allows players to sprint across stages, disguise themselves, and wield an arsenal of skills like heavy-hitting hammers, fast and flashy katanas, and tricked-out yo-yos. Ninjala will be released on Nintendo Switch in May 2020. Looks okay. Free-to-play, so I'll give it a shot. And then there were release dates. Trials of Mana is coming on April 24th. Fuse is coming out in fall. Elder Scrolls Blades is coming out in spring. Warhammer 40,000 Mechanicus is coming out in May. Figure is having a closed beta on April 9th. Saints Row 4 comes out on March 27th. The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3 comes out on June 30th. Mr. Driller Drill Land comes out on June 25th. And Minecraft Dungeon comes out spring 2020. Confirming that Minecraft Dungeons is not Xbox exclusive.
We already knew that.
Yeah, I can't remember if we did or not. So
Pretty sure they said it wasn't, but I might be wrong now.
I don't know. It's their like first non-Minecraft game since Microsoft bought them. So you never know.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a lot there. That's very surprising how much they actually dropped.
They crammed in a lot. Like none of it's big. Like none of it's like new Mario game, Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Like none of it was like a lot of it was like you could even see because all of this news only goes up to June. So you can see exactly what this direct is supposed to be. It's like, cool, I'm going to put this out to talk about everything that's happening before E3. Or whatever E3 is going to be. Because Nintendo are obviously still going to do a direct in June. Because you just look at this and nothing... Like, there's a couple of things where it's like, oh, it's coming out later in 2020, but it's the smaller stuff and it's the non-Nintendo stuff. Like, there's going to be a big blowout direct in June. Yeah. But there was a lot. Like I said, there was a lot there. It was like a 28-minute direct mini with like a fuck ton of stuff in it.
Yeah, I missed it, and I was like, I didn't realize until a day later, and I was just like, Huh. Okay. I'll just. I'm sure Amy will bring it up
Wait
on
for
the
the
show
podcast.
on the podcast. So that's all right. No, this is fantastic for everyone who's a Nintendo Switch gamer and everything like that, especially with what's going on with the pandemic. I think well done. Like I said, but like what you just said, they basically just done this to shut up all the whining Nintendo people who have been whining. And why aren't you doing a Nintendo? They literally just said, "Shut up here. See you in June."
Yeah, basically what I think's happened is like because last year it was the kind of a weird. So they did the direct in February, I believe, and they did a lot of big announcements. Like that was where we learned about Super Mario Maker 2 was coming out in June and Link's Awakening was coming out later in the year. And they did big announcements for stuff. I'm pretty sure they announced Luigi's Mansion 3 in there as well. This year, nothing's coming out between Animal Crossing and E3. I'm just going to keep calling it E3. So, for people who are listening, just bear with me while I do that. So, what I think is they're just like, okay, here's a bunch of stuff that's happening between March and June. And then in June at E3, we're going to do Breath of the Wild 2. We're going to announce a new Mario game. We're going to announce Splatoon 2 or ARMS 2. Or, like, we're going to do all the big stuff. We're going to do it in June because that's when it makes more sense to do it. Like, the thing is, like, yes, there's always been a direct with substantial information in it at the beginning of a year for years now, but that's because they've always had stuff to talk about. If they don't have stuff to talk about, there's no point in doing a big direct. That's why PlayStation didn't do E3 last year. Because they just had the same things to talk about and decided not to do that.
That's why PlayStation still haven't really talked it really yet. Yeah. Yes, they revealed what the specs are, but it's the thing. Well, I think we already know PlayStation's they're waiting until come out and then they're going to talk then, I think.
Yeah, I think they need to figure out what the pipeline is on that. Let's use that as a segue.
Perfect segue.
Sony and Microsoft put out vague statements about how COVID-19 will affect their games. This is from Ethan Gash over at Kotaku, who writes, in a press release on its website, Sony announced that it doesn't expect the game and network services part of its business to be impacted during the current fiscal year, which ends in 2 days. At the same time, the company didn't rule out that things could change in the future. Sony and Microsoft both put out statements overnight responding to questions about how the ongoing pandemic will affect their game development plans going forward. Neither statement contains much in the way of substance, but they may be an omen of things to come. Quote, although no issues have emerged so far, Sony is carefully monitoring the risk of delays in production schedules for game software titles at both its first-party studios and partner studios, primarily in Europe and the US. Sony added that it has reopened manufacturing plants in China that had previously been closed. However, 3 other plants, 2 in Malaysia and 1 in the UK, remain shut down until April 14th. The company also confirmed, which might get extended, at least in this country. The company also confirmed that employees are working from home in some of its offices across Europe, the US, and Japan. Microsoft's head of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty, shared a much shorter statement with GameSpot last week. Quote, each studio is facing unique challenges and constraints depending on its particular location, and many of our external development partners around the world are similarly affected. We are supporting our studio leaders to make the right decisions for their teams and their individual games during this challenging time. End quote. Booty's message came a day after 343 Studios published a blog post in which it said that while development of Halo Infinite and Halo Master Chief Collection on PC remained on track, the studio needed to be mindful of our current limitations and understand that the coronavirus situation may get worse before it gets better. No major games have been delayed yet, but Bethesda has announced that its massive Wastelanders expansion for Fallout 76 had to be pushed back a week due to work-from-home policies affecting the company's ability to finish playtesting the update. They playtest games? That's a surprise. Other publishers... apparently. Other publishers have also started preparing fans for the possibility of physical releases being delayed. Capcom announced possible shortages or delayed shipping for physical copies of Resident Evil 3, which comes out on April 3rd. Square Enix also told fans that while Final Fantasy VII Remake will still launch on April 10th as planned, physical copies may not arrive on time, as Amazon and other digital retailers have been delaying non-essential shipments. This does not mean the box copies of Final Fantasy VII Remake will not be dispatched, Square said. It just means that we cannot control the date the game may arrive. There's your weekly coronavirus COVID-19 update for the games industry. There's a lot of different things on there.
and I think they'll still release this year. Sony, I think there's a chance they could push till early next year. Just because at the end of the day, they got the mind share. They technically don't need to drop this if they don't need to. They're probably still going to win the most sold console, not most sold console. They're still going to probably get at least some great games still out there with Last of Us, or Dreams is doing very well, and obviously with Ghost of Tsushima coming out and everything. They could, if they need to push it, I can see them pushing it to May, not May, March next year. I think they don't want to. There's no doubt about it. I think they prefer not to.
No.
But if they need to, they should.
I think, yeah, they obviously don't want to. They're not going to talk about it right now. Either way, like a lot of people, like I saw a lot of podcasts and stuff go up about like PlayStation and Xbox confirmed there will be no delays to their consoles, and I was like, yeah, of course they do. It's March, like of course that's what they're going to say right now. Like we made this, we talked about this I think last week, and we said like, look, we're not speculating on whether the consoles will be delayed because we just don't have very much information, and that's because of the timing. Like they don't know like if these consoles are coming out at the end of the year, but they've got a date. They're absolutely working their hardest to make sure they hit that date. Like, they're not trying to mislead anyone. Like, and I'm sure there are conversations happening at the top of both companies, which are like, okay, here's the contingency plan because we might not be able to release this console in at the end of 2020. Like, I believe they both believe they still will be able to, but they're definitely not going to come out and say, yeah, we might not, because that will have massive domino effects on so many different things. It's like, they have to be sure before they say something like that. You won't hear that they might do it from them. You'll just hear, we're doing this.
The thing is, like, I think a lot of people need to realize is that the new consoles that are coming out are going to affect a lot of studios. They're going to affect Activision. They're going to affect Ubisoft. They're going to affect a lot of them.
Everybody's making games for next-gen consoles.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And especially some of them are intending to drop their new games this year on the new consoles, poised to drop with the new consoles.
100%.
Oh, they're not just talking to their higher-ups, they're talking to the studio, the other studios, highs up and publishers and everything. They're doing a lot of talking. Like I say, I think Microsoft are the only one that probably will not delay. I think Sony is the chance they will delay, just because to be on the safe side and everything. I don't think that and everything, but it's like sorry to bring like government and everything like that. Governments, they're not doing the greatest things and everything like that. They're taking it day by day. Some people, like I say, people say they should be doing it a lot easier, faster, and everything like that. We all know that. So if they're taking it day by day, the companies are all taking it day by day. It's week by week basis and everything. And until this thing's truly nipped in the butt, or that we know it's going to get nipped in the butt, then it's gonna be this type of conversations for a long time. That's just how it's going to be, sadly.
Like I was looking forward to this week not talking about Microsoft and Xbox, my PlayStation and Xbox, and then this had to fucking come out, didn't it? So hopefully next week, give me a treat for our 200th episode, Microsoft and Sony, just to say nothing. Do nothing, and let's just have a week where we don't have to try and speculate about PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Or go in the other direction and just do your reveal event. So then we've got something to talk about.
Yes.
Like, it's episode 200 next week. Just give me this. One or the other. Either don't make a vague statement or do a reveal event.
Do it. What's that saying?
Do it. Do it. Just do it.
Don't.
Yeah.
Do it.
Shia LaBeouf. Also a good Hot Ones episode. The thing about the games as well, like physical copies of games might get delayed just because of shipments. Like tracks with everything. It sucks, but it's an unfortunate reality of COVID-19.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna be one of those things, sadly.
Like, we'll see what happens. and we may end up talking about it again more next week. I just sent you. You mentioned something about dreams that reminded me. I wanted to show you something. I've just DM'd you for something to have a look at after the podcast. It's not a news thing. It's just something cool to have a look at. Next up, BioWare is developing a new game in one of its most prestigious franchises. This is from Samuel Horty over at PC Gamer. He writes, BioWare is hiring for the next major title in one of our most prestigious franchises, a job posting on EA's website has revealed. The company's Edmonton branch is looking for a technical director with AAA multiplayer games on PC or console to work on the new game, as well as across the studio's project. The job ad doesn't give away any more details, but we wouldn't be surprised if it relates to a new Mass Effect game. Reports emerged in November that the next game in the long-running series was in development at Edmonton Studio under the leadership of longtime BioWare producer Mike Gamble, who worked on Mass Effect 2, 3, and Andromeda. Multiplayer has also played a big part in previous Mass Effect games, so again, it fits. Mass Effect. It's been on my mind because I've been replaying Mass Effect Andromeda for my retrospective review series. So this coming up was like, okay.
Just do one game at a time, BioWare. You are right now fixing Anthem. You're in production or what? Got either coming to the end of your pre-production to go into production of Dragon Age, and you're doing this.
I mean,
why?
They don't.
Why? And why?
Because they have like 3 studios. Because they do literally have multiple studios.
And I still think it's silly.
Because there's Edmonton, Austin. Like, they're not all going to work on the same game. Like, that would be crazy.
What? I know that, but it's just like I just really feel like right now you got.
The issue is, and this is in account and from like stuff I've read and seen about like games development. It's like they can't throw too many. Having not enough people work on a game and having too many people work on a game is like the same problem. So like if like Dragon Age, like they could throw another 100 people at Dragon Age 4, but if they haven't got anything for those people to do, then that becomes detrimental to the development process. And I learned that from the God of War documentary. So yeah, it's probably just the way they're set up.
It's just like, obviously, like say BioWare's had a lot of bad press of late, as we all know, and everything like that. And we're hoping that whenever they do reveal their new thing, what they're doing for Anthem and everything, their full update, the fix it, hopefully, all everything like that, we're rooting for it and everything.
I'm just like,
then after that, obviously, we believe is Dragon Age.
Well, it is Dragon Age.
We don't even know what the hell this Dragon Age is really anymore. Like, what was the teaser a year and a half ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
it was the quintessential AAA publisher teaser that all developers put out when they're making a game people don't want, which was, but we're also working on this cool thing. So buy this so we can make the thing that you actually want.
Yeah. And it's just like come on, man. Like, come on. I'm just feel like they're gonna stretch themselves too far again. And that's just my big worry for it. I know they've got multiple studios and everything like that, but it's just like everyone's worried that if BioWare keep fucking up, that EA will close them and everything and all like that. And we obviously do not want that to happen. For me, unless they've I might be completely wrong here, and they've properly sorted out their management structure for all 3 studios, and they've got one big head overlording on all of them and having a proper structure. And they're doing things right, and they aren't crunching into insane, stupid ways, but that they were. Then that's fantastic. But I'm just very apprehensive for this right now.
I mean, I'm apprehensive of anything BioWare do after the whole Anthem thing, plus the Jason Schreier article about what's been going on at BioWare for like a decade now.
It came from Mass Effect Andromeda, then straight into Anthem, and it's just been one shit show after another shit show after another shit show after another shit show. And like both you and me, we're defenders of Andromeda. We both enjoy that game. How are you doing a piece on that right now? But just one of those things, man. I'm just very apprehensive, and I'm just like, please, just like, come on. I
And
want them to come out. And my hope is like, whenever they do their E3 thingy and it's reveal, because that's when I'm guessing they're going to reveal Anthem. I just have that feeling that's when they're going to do it. Especially like what the article said when they were talking about it. Said this year, didn't they? They said they will reveal it this year. So I'm
I don't
guessing
know. I
it's
think
going
they
to
said
be
they'd reveal it this year. I remember
Yeah.
it's speculating that it was going to be a launch thing for PS5 and Xbox Series X. Sorry, I just need to stretch my knee out.
No.
No, I mean, like, this is just how game development works with like big studios with multiple studios. Like, Remedy's making about 4 games, I think, at this point. It's just the way it is. Like, yes, it is. It does make me apprehensive because, you know, as we know, as we've seen in the past, BioWare has been horrendously mismanaged, and like hopefully they've sorted it out now,
Yeah.
like to the point where this is cool. But it is like BioWare have always made multiple games at once,
Yeah.
like
But
so.
they had management then.
But then
And
they
the
would be like,
management left.
well, no, that was the problem was they didn't have management. That was the issue. So they would go, shit, we need everybody, all hands on deck for Mass Effect Andromeda, shit, and then all the other games would get
No,
delayed.
but didn't they have management before then? Then the management left before Andromeda came, wasn't it?
Well, a lot of
Pretty
people
sure
have
they had the
left.
management structure
Tons
in
like
for like Dragon Age Inquisition and the
no,
Dragon
no,
Age
God,
Dark
no.
Origin.
I mean,
You know?
like the people like most of the leads who worked on things like Dragon Age Inquisition and stuff like that have all left. Like, but that was something completely different. Like
Okay.
the thing is, there's the article about Anthem, which also talks about Mass Effect Andromeda, and then in Jason Schreier's book, he talks about Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Inquisition, which is kind of the same thing as happened with those, as happened with the other 2 games, Andromeda and Anthem.
Yeah.
It's just a long running chain of the same thing, basically. There was a thing about Dragon Age 2, I can't remember what it was. Like, they had to put it out, because they put it out within a year and a half. Because they were going to make Inquisition. And then they had to make something else for some reason. I can't remember what it was. It's been a couple of years since I read the book, but it's really interesting.
Is it the one I think I've got?
It's his only book. I can't remember what it's called now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one I've got then. I'll have to have it. I've got it on Audible, and I've been going through a lot of books that I've got. So
Yeah, no, it's really fascinating. Like, it's the BioWare Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. It's called.
that's it. Yeah.
I remember reading the stuff about Dragon Age and being just like, oh, that explains a lot of what happened with the 2 Dragon Age games. Last news story because it's wacky. Engineer combines Smash controller with a taser because why not? This is from Ian Walker over at Kotaku. He writes, recent advances in virtual reality have done wonders to make video games more immersive than ever. But certain persistent technical limitations still bedevil this developing technology, such as, say, its inability to shock the living hell out of players with agonizing bursts of electric current. It's a problem, but one enterprising hacker sought to change this unhappy status quo, crafting a custom Super Smash Bros. Controller that shocks its unlucky user every time they perform one of Electric Pokemon Pichu's self-damaging special moves. My first question for Eric Heckman was simply, why? A mechanical engineer by trade, Heckman told Kotaku that every one of his projects starts with something that makes him laugh. If he finds an idea amusing or entertaining, there's a good chance it's worth exploring. Well, electric shocks are amusing and entertaining. Seeing as Pichu is an electric-type Pokemon, Heckman felt a taser would be a good substitute for its powers in the real world. Quote, I've been working on the project for a few weeks now. The design is pretty simple, using only a Nintendo Switch controller, an Arduino microcontroller, a relay switch, and a cheap taser I got off eBay. It took around 2 hours to wire everything together. Most of the time was spent on coding the taser timings for each of the moves. The controller has delays built in, so that the taser activates at the same time Pichu takes damage within the game. And then there's an explanation about Pichu works, I'm not going to ignore that. Since the taser's voltage was fixed, Heckman wasn't able to adjust its power to correspond with the strength of Pichu's attacks, but he did set the weapon to zap longer, depending on the move. The taser also mimics how a given attack damage damages Pichu in-game. Thunder Jolt, for instance, simply shocks the user when they press a button, while Thunder only unleashes real-world agony if Pichu is struck by its lightning bolt. Heckman achieved the latter by having the setup detect whether or not the rumble motor in the controller activates within a small window, which signifies that Pichu, inexperienced baby that it is, got shocked by its own attack.
Real world agony?
Yeah.
Why would someone do this?
Haptic feedback, innit? This is what everybody wants. This is too real. This guy's got a YouTube channel.
I feel like this guy literally watched Ready Player One and saw that advert where the kid was literally promoting the suit where you feel it all. He's like, gunshot, you feel it all, and he's literally like, oh, I can do that with electric.
PlayStation had one of those suits, a haptic feedback suit. I remember reading about it. It was at PSX, and what they did was they were doing Res Infinite demos with it. So you put the VR headset on, you put the haptic feedback suit on, and you got like full body feedback from playing Res Infinite, and it was like, that sounds really cool. This doesn't sound great. This sounds like that fucking lightning round game everybody had, where it plays the thing and then it makes the noise. You have to push the button, and the last person to push the button gets electrocuted, gets like a shock.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I hated that game.
It sounds like a drunken game that would turn out really badly. That's literally what screams out.
It's just dumb, and I like it.
Yeah,
I like dumb stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good light-hearted little thing to. Oh, this hasn't been that big of a heavy episode compared to what we've had a few, so it's good to finish on something light-hearted still, even though it's dumb as hell.
It's dumb as fuck. But if you go on his YouTube website, he's done all sorts of weird, dumb controllers. And it's like, hey, if you've got the know-how, why not?
Why not?
Why not? Let's move on to games out this week. There's a few games coming out. On March 31st, we've got Persona 5 Royal coming to PS4. Zombie Army Trilogy coming to Switch. The Complex coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. And then on April 3rd, we've got Resident Evil 3 coming to PC, Xbox One, and PS4. And In Other Waters coming to PC and Switch. Gonna be honest, I'm not jumping on Persona 5 Royal. I don't have 100 hours to play that game.
It's got a 96 on OpenCritic.
Yeah. I played the original. I want to play the new one, but I'm also very much aware of the fact that we did a podcast topic on this a few years ago, me and Keith. Most 100-hour games aren't 100-hour games. When you're talking about 100 hours, you're talking about all the optional shit that isn't really worth doing. Persona 5 is legitimately, you play the game from start to finish, and it takes 100 hours. This isn't it's not a, oh, you have to do, if you do all this side stuff, then you add to the game. No, it takes 100 hours. If you do the side stuff, it takes longer than 100 hours. This is legitimately a 100-hour game, and with Animal Crossing, I don't have space in my life for Persona 5 Royal at the moment. If I get bored of Animal Crossing, or if I just find myself with a big gap in my schedule for new releases, which might happen this summer because of COVID-19, I might go back and check it out.
Very cool.
But I played Persona 5.
I've never played a Persona game.
Persona 5 is legit. It's really good. I say that I'm totally underselling how good it is. It's amazing. When I say it was my game of the year for 2017. So, I'm pretty sure it's Keith's favorite game of the entire console generation.
Nice.
I remember him saying he went out and bought a PS4, specifically to play Persona 5, and he was like, it was worth the price of PS4.
Well, I'll be buying the PlayStation 4 at the end of April for Last of Us, though.
Yeah.
End of May.
Anime.
Yeah.
Either rent it or buy the original one, because it'll probably be cheaper. But either way, you should definitely check it out. It's very anime as well. I should probably
do like my anime, but yeah,
it's incredibly anime. Let's play, I guess, The Score. This is the game every week, me and Mr. Mooney sit down and we try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever guesses closest gets 1 point. If you manage to guess the score spot on, you get 2 points. Last week, we attempted to guess the OpenCritic score of Half-Life Alyx. Our discussion was this could go one of two ways, and it went one of the two ways we described. The OpenCritic average of Half-Life Alyx at the time of recording this podcast is a 93. I guess it was going to be a 91.
For the longest time through the week, it was at 91.
It was a 91. And then it went up, and then it went up again. I was like, oh, well, that's fine. Because it's also in my fantasy game league team, so it's it going up. I was still like, cool, that's fine. I still win this. Yeah. And I get more points in fantasy game league.
You got to be leading that now.
Yeah, well, I will be on Tuesday when Persona 5 Royal comes out, because that has a 96.
And then depending on what Resident Evil 3 gets.
If Resident Evil 3 gets above a 90, I will have 4 games out in my fantasy game league, and none of them are below a 90 on OpenCritic. So I'd say I'm doing okay for myself in that game.
Better than Keith.
Better than Russ. He counterpicked Half-Life. He's on minus 26 points. That puts the current scores at Amy 4, Moody 5. I managed to guess closest on Dreams, Warcraft 3, One Punch Man, and Half-Life Alyx. Moody, you managed to guess closest on Zombie Army 4, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and Doom Eternal. You also managed to guess the score spot on correctly for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. This week, there was only one game we were going to try and guess. With Persona 5 already out, it's Resident Evil 3. So, Moody, what do you think the OpenCritic average of RE3 is going to be?
This is going to be fascinating as hell. Last year's Resident Evil 2 got a 92 on OpenCritic. It was one of the highest critical games last year. This game we're all looking forward to. Now, if I went for what our good friend of ours, MC Fixer, wants it to be, 100. Like 100, that would be amazing if that actually happened. We know it's not going to happen. We know. But
the greatest game of all time on Metacritic only has a 99.
What's that one?
Ocarina of Time. What's the highest rated game?
So I'm gonna say balls right now. This is gonna be in the 90s. I think I'll say that.
Oh, you're finally joining me up in the 90s. So there's been a running thing the last few weeks where you've been making me look crazy because I've been guessing everything up in the 90s, and I've been right. Like for most of them, I just haven't been close enough. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, what? Wait a minute. I went in the 90s for Ori, didn't I?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I know Doom Eternal. I was in the 90s for Doom.
No, you definitely went in the 90s for Doom because Doom didn't get into the 90s.
Didn't it?
No, Doom Eternal got an 89.
No, so I was 90. I think I was 90 for that.
No, I don't think so. I don't remember because I don't save the.
Yeah, I can't remember. Okay.
The highest rated game ever on OpenCritic is Super Mario Odyssey, and I got a 97.
Amy, I am going to go full on ballsy here, Amy. 93.
Damn. That's an Amy answer. It's a good job I wasn't going 93. Now, if I follow the pattern of the last 4 weeks, I'm going above 93, right? And as you know, I always write down my answer on my phone before we start because I don't want to be influenced by what you say. There has been once where I've moved my number in one direction or the other because otherwise we would have said the same one. But I'm always.
So I haven't said the same as you then, so that's fascinating.
You haven't said the same as me today. No.
So have you gone higher or have you gone lower?
I believe.
I think you've gone lower.
Project Resistance is an issue as far as Resident Evil 3 goes. I think the game is going to be amazing. I think in many ways it's going to be a step up from Resident Evil 2. But I think Project Resistance isn't going to be that great. I didn't play the beta. Just to put that out there. I'm just going off of what I've seen gameplay-wise. And I think that might drag its score down a little bit. Not a lot, because I don't think a lot of outlets are going to even factor that into the review score.
I think it also, well, what type of is it going to be like a Doom Eternal situation? Are they only playing the story?
Yeah.
And
I
are
would
they only
imagine,
reviewing
maybe,
the story?
potentially. They could be doing 2 separate reviews for the 2 things.
Yeah.
But I also think I'm a little bit concerned about Nemesis. And because Mr. X works really well in Resident Evil 2, but also he's not in very much of that game. And I feel like being constantly stopped by Nemesis might be a double-edged sword. And all of this is to say, preamble, to say that I, Amy Alexander, I'm guessing that Resident Evil 3 is going to get a 90.
It's going to be interesting.
It is. No possible way we can draw.
That's true, yeah. If it lands 92 for me, I win. 91 for you, you win.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be just that little shade down on Resident Evil 2.
I just went for a swang for the thing because I
haven't swung this week. I mean, to be fair, 90 again. Like we have to keep qualifying this every week. 90 is a fucking amazing score anyway. But
yeah, let's not forget that.
I haven't swung I haven't swung like I've swung the last few weeks on some other games. I mean, hell, if it gets a 93, fucking great. Fantasy Game Critic. For me, fantastic. Like, get a 100. I'll have all those points. Fuck it. I will lose a point. I will gladly lose a point in our Guess the OpenCritic score competition to get some extra points in Fantasy Game League. The 2020 Hall of Fame at the moment on OpenCritic is quite interesting. So Half-Life Alyx is the best reviewed game of the year so far, with 93. Then Animal Crossing New Horizons has a 92. Then Ori and Dreams both have 90. Doom Eternal has an 89. Neo 2 has an 85. And Kentucky Route Zero TV Edition and MLB The Show 20 both have 85 as well. That's cool. I wonder what the best reviewed OpenCritic game is going to be by the end of the year.
So what's number 1 right now?
Half-Life.
Is that because Persona hasn't registered yet?
Yeah, Persona's not out yet, so it's still an upcoming release.
Okay, so what's Persona right now?
96. Isn't it? Yeah.
And what's Half-Life?
93.
93. Yeah, I think it's going to be Persona.
I think
Last of Us Last of Us Part 2 will be high.
Oh,
I think that's going to be around 95, 94.
I'm not telling you what I think it's going to be because I'm saving that for that podcast episode.
That's
but
fine,
just you wait until you are going to lose your shit when you hear what I'm going to guess for Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, shit, you're going 97 or higher.
You're going to be like, what? And I'm going to be like, hell yeah. But that's going to do it that's a future episode. That's going to do it for episode 100.
Future episode. The episode's into the 200s then.
I can tell you. Depending on the review embargo, because I've got a spreadsheet. Depending on when the review embargo for it lifts, it'll be episode... Oh, good. This is going really slowly. Just when I need it to just do something really quickly. Google Docs is shit the bed.
Shit the bed, yeah.
It'll be episode 207. When we guess the OpenCritic score of The Last of Us Part 2. Unless they have a really early review embargo, and then it'll be 206. That's going to do it for episode 199 of the Words About Gamescast. We're not doing anything special for episode 200, because it's a lockdown. So if PlayStation could just do their PlayStation 5 reveal event between now and next Sunday, that'd be fantastic. Otherwise, say bye, Moody.
Say bye, Moody.
Say bye, Moody. You're not supposed to say the say part.